Guys, so happy New Year's Eve. It's like 11 o'clock on New Year's Eve, and I am gonna be spending it with you guys. Yeah, 'cause I have nothing happening. You know me, I'm a little bit boring these days in my old age. But yeah, it's just me and Willow hanging out. Um, I wanted to make this video ever since like the very first day. I'm going to be talking, of course, about Savanah Soto and Matthew Guerra. Um, I've been following this since the mom first posted on Facebook that her daughter missed her appointment. And that was what, December 24th? No, 23rd, right? Because it was Saturday before. Oh no, so yeah, she was supposed to get induced on Christmas Eve. Um, she had she was all right. Let me start from the beginning. Savanah Soto, San Antonio, Texas. She was 18 years old and scheduled to. She was 41 weeks pregnant, so she was overdue. She was supposed to be going into the hospital at 6:30 in the evening on Saturday, which would be the 24th, to be induced. Because, like I said, the baby was late. So, in the day, like Friday, the mom, Savannah's mom, had spoken to her, and like she was planning to meet her and Matthew, because Matthew was the dad, at the hospital for the appointment. And then Saturday, just touching base or whatever, she never received an answer from Savanah, like texting and calling, nothing. She didn't respond to anything. So the mom, naturally starts to worry and goes over to the apartment and knock, 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 and nobody ever answered the door, and their car was not there. So mom, of course, is panicking, and she puts out the original post on Facebook that just said, like, my daughter was scheduled to be induced, and she didn't show up, and she's with her boyfriend who's no good. And that was Hi Willow, and that was our first indication as to who Matthew was, her boyfriend. Now, apparently, last year on Christmas, there was some sort of fight between Savanah and Matthew to the point where he was, beating on her. A neighbor witnessed it and had to go to court, like, because apparently at some point Savanah was unconscious and Matthew was kicking her down the stairs outside of their apartment. Like, that's sick. Like, they lived in an apartment, like, on the second floor, and it had, like, the outside staircases, kind of like motels do, you know what I mean? Like, they have the outside hallways and stairs that go down to the parking lot. I guess, like, the neighbor witnessed him beating on her outside and kicking her down the stairs. So anyway, this was last year, so obviously she was not pregnant. But it was so bad that she needed stitches in her head. She had an eye swollen shut. Just really bad. And of course there was a restraining order in place, and before, like, of course Matthew was arrested and whatnot, and like before he could even be released from jail, Savanah already had dropped the restraining order and was ready to take him back. Now, I know it's sad, it's horrible, but it's domestic violence, and so many women go through this, and I've said this in my past videos, but like, it is a statistic that it takes on average 8 times of a woman being beaten before she'll get it through her head that she needs to leave, that he won't change, you know what I mean? So now Savanah was only 18 years old and Matthew was 22. Now, she had been with him since she was 15, so like this is like her only relationship, do you know what I mean? Like, maybe she had little boyfriends here and there, but this was the first serious one, and boy, she really look, I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but she really picked a bad one. And I have no room to talk, you know what I mean? Like, I really don't. For years, my best friend in the world was a really hardcore drug dealer, and I'm not ashamed to say it. He was my best friend. Like, honestly, I had to cut myself off from him because I can't be around that stuff anymore. Like, I've gotten to the point in my life where I just can't. Like, I can't listen to it. I don't want to think about it. And I'm to the point where I'm afraid that he's going to end up dead. And it's probably better off if I cut myself off now. It's not going to hurt as bad. And I hate to say it. Like, it sucks. It really does. I love the boy very much. He is always going to have a spot in my heart. But, like, I just couldn't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you have to know when enough is enough. So, anyway, I digress. So Savanah's missing, and they're thinking that the guy, Matthew and her took off together at first. But Matthew's not answering his phone either. And both phones are shut off. So they're going directly to voicemail. Like, it's not like they're just not answering. Their phones are off. And so Matthew's family proceeds to, file him as a missing person as well. Now, at first, they were kind of told, like, well, they're adults and they can leave if they want to. Like, if they're not, missing, they just, they're grown-ups, they can do what they want to do. But because of Savanah's situation and the fact that she was supposed to be induced and she was, like, really, really pregnant, they issued what's called a clear alert, which is basically the same thing as an Amber Alert, but for a grown-up. It's like, I can't remember what it stands for, but something or other, adult in danger, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what it stands for, but you know what, I'll put it on the screen here when I'm doing the editing, because I don't know it off the top of my head, but I know I can find it. So anyway, they issued this clear alert for Savanah on Christmas Day. So now everybody's looking for her, and it's being shared everywhere. There's already a Facebook group created, Find Savanah Soto, right? Now, of course, I'm in the group. You know me, true crime, I'm all over it. And I wasn't doing anything anyway. It's, Christmas. I'm by myself. I'm bored out of my mind. So I'm following along with this group and, like, hoping to God that they find this. She's beautiful. I mean, beautiful, beautiful girl. And so pregnant and so sad. Like, they gotta find her, right? And I'm thinking all along, like, oh, God, I hope he didn't hurt her. I hope he didn't hurt her. Like, I hope he didn't hurt her, and then, he's on the run. I'm thinking all these horrible things about Matthew, which everybody was, because as time goes on, more shit's coming out. Like, of course, the thing about him beating her up last year comes out, like, first and foremost, because the court documents are online, and everybody's sharing those. And then it's like, Matthew's father, wow, criminal record out the ass, just like him, okay? So, like, where Matthew got it from. Like, his criminal record starts flying around, and everybody's looking for, any kind of clues that they can get. Now, Matthew's father, on Saturday, goes to the apartment and kicks the door in, okay? Because, like I said, no one could get in because it's locked and they're missing, and I guess he just took it upon himself to kick the door in. So he does, right? And people are saying, like, people that were on the scene were saying that he took the drugs, the guns, and the cash that were in the apartment and bounced. Basically, like, so that when they came back, they wouldn't get in trouble. But I don't know. I kind of feel like he had ulterior motives, but that's just me. You guys can think what you want to think, but I do not think very highly of the dude. Just because you're gonna kick your son's door in, like, really? Let the cops do that. What's the matter with you? But anyway, the hospital bag, that you take with you to the hospital, that was all packed for the baby, was sitting there in the apartment. So, it's not like they took it and were gonna go to the hospital. Something happened to them before they were supposed to go to the hospital. So, so Savanah's, her, diaper bag and all that was there. And they are still missing in their vehicle. So, Christmas Day comes and goes. Everybody's looking. It's so sad. The parents are on TV and are, begging for help. And, the police do a little, press conference thing saying they're missing and blah, blah, blah. And it's on all the news channels. Now, the 26th comes along, day after Christmas, and around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, one of Savanah's cousins gets a message through Facebook saying, I think the car is at such and such apartment complex. So the cousin, okay, she calls the cops and lets them know that she got this message, but at the same time she's heading over there to this apartment complex. It's called something or other medical. I don't know why the word medical is in the name of the apartment complex, but it is. So she gets there pretty much 2 seconds before the cops do, and yeah, it's the car, and she goes up to the car, and I've heard that she opened the door, but I've also heard that the doors were locked, so I don't know what's true there. But either way, she was able to see clearly that Savanah and Matthew were inside the car, and they were both dead. Now, yeah. Somebody had the disgusting, horrible, awful thought that it was okay to shoot a pregnant woman in the head. What the fuck? Matthew, I mean, look, I'm not trying to be a bitch, but that's the life that he led, and I'm not surprised, okay? Because I'm gonna show you some stuff. Wow. Matthew was a drug dealer, and I'm not like talking about he just sold a little bit of weed, okay? He sold a shitload of weed, but that's not all. He sold fucking everything, alright? Now, I don't see, when I was younger and I used to do a lot of drugs, which, you know, and I'm gonna make myself sound horrible, but no, in my time, I smoked a lot of weed, okay? I still smoke a lot of weed. Weed is legal in New Jersey now, so I don't give a shit. But I've always smoked weed, ever since I was like 14, okay? And it was not always legal, so I always had to have a dealer and find a way to get it, and blah blah blah. But I had an ex-boyfriend who was completely obsessed with freaking cocaine, which, oh god, I hated it. But I used to have to buy that. And then it all progressed on to other things later in life. I've done it all, basically. And yeah, I'm talking even heroin. But each thing had its moment in time in my life. You know what I mean? I wasn't ever doing it all at once. It was like, and I'm not bragging, but we didn't have the things that these kids have today to sell and buy drugs. Because there's this app apparently called Telegraph, which I never even heard of it until this case, okay? Now, I'm not that old, but we don't use apps to sell drugs. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of, okay? Because you're just asking to get caught. I mean, what the hell? Apparently, it's like Snapchat, which I also don't have, so I'm not real sure how it works, but it's like encrypted, and the messages, they disappear, like Snapchat. So I guess it's the safest way to use an app if you're gonna sell drugs, but wow, that's stupid. But anyway, I want to show you guys some photos from Matthew's Telegraph. Like, wow. There's weed, there's lean, there's shrooms, there's crack, there's cartridges, you know, like weed cartridges, there's Xanax pills, there's other pills, you know, Xanny bars. You can see all of this shit, plus stacks and stacks and stacks of cash and guns, lots of guns. Like, I've seen at least 3 different guns. And there's a picture that's Matthew and Savanah's feet and her pregnant belly and like drugs. And like there's a picture of them in the mirror. She's got her big pregnant belly in her phone, and he's standing there with 2 guns. I'm sorry, what the hell were you people thinking? Like, you're just asking, oh, please, somebody rob me. Like, I can't even. So, yeah. Yeah. Like, I just can't get over the fact that people do this. Like, that they advertise the drugs that they're selling using an app. That is fucking insane. Like, I had a weed guy that used to text when he was re-upping, and sometimes he would sell pictures of the bud so that we could see, you know, the ones with the little purple hairs or the little red hairs. You know what I mean? But that's just weed. This dude is selling all kinds of shit. And yeah, like the little bottles, I didn't know what that was. I had to ask my boyfriend. I'm like, what is that? And he said that's lean, and now I know. But I didn't even know what lean was until I found out it's actually Tylenol with codeine, like the cough syrup that you get, like the prescription shit that, like, apparently these kids are taking the bottle of it and mixing it with soda, and that's what they call lean. They drink this and it gets them all fucked up. Obviously, I mean, you're gonna drink a whole bottle of codeine cough syrup? Yeah, you're gonna be fucked up. And you're lucky if you don't overdose and die. Like, what is wrong with these kids? Anyway, so yeah, that is Matthew. And I'm like, how are you that stupid? But the whole thing is so sad and so tragic because, yeah, they find Matthew and Savanah in their car in this parking lot. She's in the front passenger seat with the baby's car seat on her lap, and he is laid out in the back seat, apparently with his pants down. What? Now, apparently that's like a thing. It's like a humiliation thing. Like, I've actually heard that he had his little dingling chopped off too, but I don't know if that's true. Like, that's a little extreme, and that sounds like cartel to me. Like, not just street. You know what I mean? Like, there's street and then there's cartel, and I don't think cutting off a wee-wee is just street. Like, I think that's a little bit more intense than that. But I'm going to get into some theories as to, like, why I believe this happened, other than they're showing off and being stupid. But yeah, so listen, there's a cousin, Matthew's cousin. She went on TikTok and she made this recording. Well, she did a couple of them, and I got them for you guys. I bunched them together so you can watch, you know, all, like, I think there's 2 or 3, but I smushed them together. That's why you'll see, like, she's talking and then all of a sudden her outfit changes. But I didn't believe this when I first saw it. I thought it was just, like, some clout chaser. But then when they were, like, later on I was watching some more footage of when the cops found the car and how, like, there was all these people, like, waiting, like, you know, behind the police tape. And I saw her. So, like, she was really there. Like, I saw her, like, hugging the rest of the family. So she really was there. The thing is, when she's talking, like, you'll hear, she actually says that they told them that it looked like torture. Why would the cops do that? See, I don't believe that they would. Like, I don't think the cops would be like, oh, his pants were down, it looks like torture. You know what I mean? Like, maybe, I'm thinking, because you know how I said that, like, the cousin saw them? Maybe the cousin was saying that, but I really don't see the cops telling the family it looks like torture. Like, that's not something a cop would say to a family. You know what I mean? But anyway, here, let me show you this TikTok of the cousin.
They were both together whenever they passed. We have no details. They don't want to give us no details. They did let us know that there was shell casings in the car, and that my cousin's injuries were very gruesome. This is a very, very hard pill to swallow. Just seeing the pain in my aunt's eyes. Even seeing the pain of Savanah's family just hurt me so much. And honestly, I just hope that all of us could just come and all come together, because at the end of the day, we both lost family members. And she was a family member. And it's ugly. It's ugly. I honestly feel like they got set up. Because nothing's making sense to me. The way they left him in the back seat. They left him in the back seat, laid out with his pants off. It was gruesome. They just said it was gruesome. He was not in the front seat. He was in the back seat. My cousin's very, very, very tall. Savanah was in the front passenger seat, and she had the car seat on top of her. My cousin was in the back seat, laid out with his pants off. They said that he basically was tortured. They didn't really want to get into details because they haven't moved the body. They're waiting for the medical examiners to get there so that they can start moving the bodies, seeing what was going on and all that stuff. But yeah, they down because they were both together.
Okay, see what I mean? Like, she's talking about, like, torture, and it was really gruesome, and, like, I mean, if people get shot in the head, it's gonna be pretty bloody and gruesome anyway, I would imagine, but, like, dudes like Matthew, like, every picture that I've seen of him, he's one of those, freaking idiots that has his jeans down around his fucking knees, which, oh god, I hate that. Like, why they do that is beyond me. And those ridiculous haircuts with the tiny bangs, like, what are they doing? Like, I don't, and it's always the young Hispanic boys, like, why do you do that? You look so dumb. Between the stupid haircuts and the pants down around their knees, like, isn't that a sign in jail that you're gay and you want it in the butt? Like, why do these dudes walk around the street like that? I just don't understand it. Like, I actually don't get it. Like, I even dated a black man for 4 years, and even he would say, like, that is so ridiculous. Why do they do that shit? Like, and he was pretty hood. I mean, like, my ex was, he did, like, 5 years in prison because he was, like, a really big time drug dealer at one point. So, yeah, he was like a thug, like a reformed thug, but he never sagged his pants. Do you know what I mean? Like, that shit is so childish and ridiculous, and it looks so dumb. But my point is, Matthew was tall as fuck. Like, I don't know if this picture of him next to Savanah, she's only 5'1", but he's an entire, like, person taller than her. So, I imagine when they were trying to throw him in the back seat and, like, pull him, they probably threw him back there, and, like, someone had to get in on the passenger side and pull on him, to get him in there. And his pants probably just came off. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were around his knees already anyway. Anyway, that's just what I'm thinking. I don't know if they chopped his wee-wee off or not, because the cousin doesn't say that. I don't even remember where I heard it, but I did hear it. So, now, next thing that happened was Matthew has, he has his biological parents, and he has a stepmom, okay? Now, while they were still missing, the biological mom, put out a thing on Facebook saying, like, that they're missing, and, keep your eye out for them, and, the picture of them and everything, and my son would never hurt her. Like she has amnesia as to last Christmas, apparently, but my son would never hurt her. And this is probably a kidnapping because my son does what he does for money. The mom's, like, proud of her drug dealing son. I can't even, I can't even. But anyway, so she's putting this up, like, ahead of time, and then Savanah's family is, like, coming at her in the comments, like, hold up. Like, this one thing from the cousin, I'll put it up on the screen if I can find it, where she's like, he messed her up so bad, and she had bruises on her all the time. He was putting hands on her even though she's pregnant, and she would come to the house with her eyes swollen shut, and, like, then she wouldn't even come around because he bruised her up so bad, and like, just called the mom out. Like, what are you talking about? He wouldn't put his hands on her, you know, like, just, and I was like, well, you go, girl, because it's only true, you know what I mean? Like, don't be standing there talking like your kid's a saint. We all know he ain't, you know what I mean? So then, after they found the bodies, all of a sudden, GoFundMe starts. And oh my god, the GoFundMe nonsense. Ugh. So the mom, biological mom, and brother, they put up the GoFundMe saying they're looking for money to help pay for Matthew's funeral. And then the stepmother, puts up a GoFundMe and says, don't pay any attention to that bitch. She didn't raise him. I did. I have or life insurance on him, so I'm going to pay for the funeral. She don't need no money. Give your money to me. Even though she just said that she has insurance. Whatever. But I guess, like, because insurance doesn't pay out right away, she's trying to get money to pay for the funeral, and then the insurance will reimburse or something like that. But she's basically, like, talking shit about the mom, and it's going back and forth, and there's this big fucking mess. They're fighting over who's going to pay for the funeral. No, they're fighting over who's going to get money out of the public. It's disgusting. Like, it really is. Savanah's family, on the other hand, put out one GoFundMe for her and the baby. The baby, by the way, was going to be named Fabian. It was a little boy. So there's a GoFundMe out there for baby Fabian and Savanah. Now, I guess I would assume they're going to be buried together, or maybe right next to each other, but hopefully together. And I wonder what they're going to do with Matthew. I wonder if they're going to split them up, or if they're going to actually, like, if Savanah's family will allow Matthew and her to be buried together. I mean, I think that that's what she would want, to be honest, but I guess it's really up to her family, because if it were me, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, I wouldn't want to put my kid with the guy that got her killed. But I know my kid would want to be with the guy, you know what I mean? Like, so it's really hard for me to say what I would decide to do, because God help me, if that ever happened, wow, you'd probably have to put me in the ground with her, because I don't think I'd be able to deal with it. Yeah, so then, okay, so the GoFundMe, I'm trying to think, oh, okay, so also, in regards to Savanah's family, because I'm talking shit about Matthew's family, I'm acting like that's, you know, and they're horrible, but let me talk for a second about Savanah's family, because they're no angels either. Last year, Savanah's 15-year-old brother thought he was a thug, and he went and stole some cartridges, weed cartridges, from a 17-year-old kid, something Flores is his name. So the 17-year-old kid knew that it was Savanah's little brother. His name's Ethan. He knew it was Ethan that stole those cartridges, so he got his little chick friend, like a teenager, to hit Ethan up through Instagram, trying to buy a cartridge. Talking about, I know you got some shit, I want to buy one for you, blah, blah, blah. Buy one from you. And, like, they set up a buy, but instead of the girl showing up, the 17-year-old kid showed up, the Flores kid, and fucking shot Savanah's brother, like, multiple times and killed him. He's 15 years old, and he's dead. Wow, right? So, then the Flores kid's, like, on the run. He's on the run for, like, a certain amount. I think it took him, like, 7 months to catch him. So when they finally caught him, and he, like, had a court appearance, in the courtroom, Savanah's family, like fucking animals, jumped and started beating the shit out of the Flores kid in the courtroom while he's in handcuffs. I'm sorry, that's some pussy shit, number one. Number two, what are you? I mean, seriously, are you animals? Do you not know how to fucking behave yourselves? Apparently the dude, like, gave the finger or something, and that was enough to make them turn into, like, a mob. Ridiculous. Fucking bullshit, okay? So, regardless, those family members of Savanah's and Ethan's have been in jail since that happened. So, like, now, I heard that they're going to be released so they can attend the funeral for Savanah, but I don't know if that's true. There's so many rumors going on with this case, I have no idea. Let me show you what the police had to say. Now, this is the press conference that they did shortly following finding the vehicle.
In this video, I would ask that you call homicide on 207-7635. You can remain anonymous. You do not have to give your name. The video was taken from a nearby location where the bodies were located. And finally, here is a slowed down image of the first person of interest getting out of the Chevy Silverado that is seen next to the Kia. And then there'll be another slowed down image of the second person of interest getting out of the victim's Kia Optima. Once you've looked at the video, I will take a few questions, again, only to clarify what I've said if you're not quite sure about it, but I will not take questions other than what I've just talked about because the investigation is still active.
Chief, you said the ME said that for Matthew Guerra it was a gunshot wound to the head, but when we called them, they said it's a contact gunshot wound. What does that mean?
It means that it was there. When we talk about the manner of death has not been determined, the manner meaning was it a suicide or was it a murder? So that's what the ME has yet to officially put out.
So there's a possibility that this could be a murder-suicide.
That possibility exists, but right now we don't believe so unless we get information from the ME that would change our current course.
You don't believe so, and I wonder the callousness of all this. What is your message to the person or persons who may have committed this?
You know, somebody asked me that the other night, and I don't know what value that adds to this interview, what message I would put out. I mean, clearly, it was a heinous act. It was, you know, unspeakable, the tragedy of it. I mean, what message would I give to those folks? I mean, I don't see what the value of that question is. But anyway.
And just to clarify, you are treating this as a homicide for both people?
It is a capital murder investigation.
For both victims?
Yes, right now, unless we get information that changes that.
And Chief, when was this surveillance video? Is this one from the 26th?
Say it again?
Where and when was this surveillance video taken?
A few days before
Yeah.
Days
the
before.
bodies were discovered.
And where was this? What's the address of this area?
Where what?
Near where the
What's that?
bodies
Is this where the bodies were discovered?
Very close to it,
Very
yes.
close to it.
I do see, I believe he is handing something to the driver of the pickup truck. Do we know anything about that?
I mean, that's what we're looking at. What we believe right now, it was something to wipe the side of the car down with. You know, we can't be 100% certain of that, but that's what we're studying in this video, and that's what we believe right now.
And do we believe that these people may have any links of some sort? Do we know what links they have to victims?
I don't know that, and again, would be part of the investigation.
So just to be clear, the vehicle, the Kia Optima, that's the vehicle that they were found in?
Yes.
Okay. But the person that's getting out of the vehicle, you're saying out of the Kia Optima, is there somebody that gets out of that vehicle that you're trying
Yes.
to?
Yes.
And you don't believe it to be either Matthew or?
No.
Okay.
So do you all believe that they were shot, the killings happened somewhere else and then they drove the car and dumped it in the parking lot?
You know, again, I don't want to get into the details other than what I've talked about here today. So, the answer to that question would be yes. But other than that, again, I'm not going to answer questions that are outside of what I just talked about.
So in this video, do you think that they're dead or alive?
Pardon?
In this video, do you think they're dead or alive?
Again, I'm not going to get into that.
And then one other question, the day of the crime scene, you called it perplexing. Now you've learned a couple more details. Can you go into why you use that word?
Because it was unknown at the time. I mean, we had been there not very long at all, and it was undetermined at that time whether we were going to be looking at it as a murder-suicide or as a capital murder investigation. So I think we've kind of gotten past that point right now, unless we get evidence that would lead us to believe otherwise, but I think we're past that point right now.
You
One
said
more
the
question.
bodies have been there for several days. How many days exactly?
I don't know exactly, but they've been there for a few days, I'll say.
So what took you so long to find the car if the car was parked there for several days?
What took us so long to find it?
Yes, if the car was parked over there for like several days.
Nobody.
Yeah, so the cops are basically just saying that it's a murder, capital murder, and it's not a murder-suicide. So it wasn't, you know, what we originally all thought. I mean, originally everybody thought that it was obviously like a murder-suicide thing, We thought that, he must have, Matthew must have flipped his shit, beat the shit out of her, and actually killed her by mistake and then went on the run. Or maybe he killed himself, you know? Like, that's what people were thinking originally, but because there's no gun in the car, and because they have not found either Matthew's nor Savanah's cell phones, that this is obviously a murder. Like, whoever did this took their phones and they also took their car keys as well, probably the guns, any drugs, any cash. They took everything Matthew had. And, that's what he gets for all the fucking showing off all over the fucking Telegraph app. I'm sorry. I feel terrible that this happened, but that fucking idiot was asking for it, okay? So now, let's get into the theories as to who did this and why. There is, apparently, there's rumors going around that, apparently a few weeks ago, Matthew and 2 other guys were arrested on drug charges, right? And those 2 guys that were with him that day are still locked up. Matthew was released the following day. Now, the word on the street, apparently, is that Matthew snitched to get himself out of jail. He decided that he wanted to do the right thing and raise his kid and get out of the game, so he was going to tell the cops on everybody. His suppliers, the kids he was with that day, this is what I've heard, that he just completely... Now, I mean, that's an admirable thing to do, but not if it's gonna get you killed. I mean, come on, my dude, what's the matter with you? You can't just get out of the game by turning everybody in. Are you crazy? Like, I don't know if it's true, but there's recordings, there's people on Ring camera talking about him snitching, and, that Savanah girl and her man's a snitch, and da-da-da, like, it's just really horrible, and I don't know if that's why, but the crazy thing is, I guess you probably heard that cop explaining about, what he was going to show you, the video. Let me show you the video. Yeah, so, big dude. Like, they're talking about 2 persons of interest. Here's my question to you guys, though. Did you see, like, they pull up, the big dude gets out of the truck, the short person gets out of Matthew's car, and they're talking. And the big dude turns, and somebody inside the truck tosses him a towel. So there's 3 people. There's somebody inside the truck, too. So there was 2 people in the truck, plus the person that was driving Matthew's car. Now, they haven't told us what day this recording, or what night, rather, this recording is. But, like, I'm hoping that it's the first night that they were missing. Otherwise, what, they were driving around Matthew's car with 2 dead bodies in it all that time? Ew. I mean, I don't think so. I think this was probably, like, what, Saturday that they went missing? Possibly even Friday night? Yeah, I think that it was probably, and then, you can see big dude like wiping the door down. You know what I mean? Like, so they're trying to take care of their fingerprints. They also took Matthew's car keys. Like, they left that car parked and locked with the bodies in it. Now the tinted windows and shit, and it's Christmas, so nobody noticed. That nobody noticed those bodies sitting in the car for like 3 or 4 days, until somebody spotted the car and told the cousin, like, hey, I think his car is at such and such. And, I think even, like, building maintenance wouldn't have noticed, because the Christmas holiday, I mean, they were kind of near to a dumpster, but seriously, like, it was Christmas. I really don't think anybody was paying any mind to this one little car sitting there by itself. And it's so sad, because, Savanah was still pregnant, apparently. Or, I mean, I don't know if she was still pregnant or if it was like a coffin birth situation, but the baby was still with her. Nobody stole the baby. It's not like it was like one of those things where they cut the baby out of the mother or anything sick like that. Like, I don't know. Honestly, I kind of wish that it was, because then maybe Fabian would have had a chance. I mean, it's just horrible what happened to that baby. Like, I cannot believe this fucking stupid kid put his girlfriend and his baby in that kind of danger. Just, like, I mean, if he was trying to get out of the game and, like, be a dad, like, then that's great, but he went about it the wrong way if he was snitching. Like, that's ridiculous. Do I really need to say, snitches get stitches? I mean, everybody knows that. Like, you don't ever tell on people. You never tell the cops. Ever. Like, that's the worst thing you could ever do. And I'm not, like, any kind of, like, thug. Like, when I was younger, I had some, pawns in the game, but I never was, no. I mean, the closest I got to, like I said, my best friend was a drug dealer. He was, like, probably one of the biggest drug dealers in Reading, Pennsylvania when I lived up there. And, he and I stayed very close friends until I just cut him off last year just because I can't listen to, he's still doing, like, it was one thing when it was just heroin, but now it's, like, fentanyl mixed with that, tranquilizer bullshit out of Philadelphia that's making everybody look like zombies. And the dude is, I can't listen to it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to think about it. It makes me literally sick. These people their arms and legs are being amputated because they're rotting from the inside out from this trank. And I can't watch him do it. I can't. So I just had to, I'm sorry. Like, I love you, but we gotta go our separate ways because I just can't do it, And I miss him, and he, like I said, he was my best friend. But that's not something I can deal with anymore. I'm too old for that shit. I really am. I'm out of that lifestyle. I don't touch drugs except for pot. And I hardly even do that anymore because I'm trying to find a job. It's very difficult for some reason right now. I can't find a job anywhere. I've been looking for months. But anyway, long story short. So yeah, that's the story so far of, Savanah and Matthew. What do you guys think? Do you think that he snitched? Or do you think that it was a jealousy thing? Do you think that it was from all of his bragging that they just robbed him and Savanah unfortunately was a witness that they had to get rid of? What do you guys think? I'm interested to see what your theories are. I am on the fence somewhere between him flaunting his shit all over the internet and somebody just straight up robbing him because they saw everything he had, or the snitch thing. Because if that's true, that he was arrested with 2 dudes and, like, magically was released the next day, but while the other 2 guys are still in there, that's fishy. Like, why? Why is that? I mean, unless, I guess he could have bailed himself out. Maybe he had the money because he's always got these stacks and the other dudes don't have the money. I don't know, but, suspicion of snitching is just as bad. You know what I mean? Like, Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI agent, the one that's always doing interviews on the news, she put up a thing on Twitter saying, like, people aren't going to talk about this simply because of the snitch thing. Like, on the streets, that'll get them killed. And chances are his family and friends already know who did this. They just can't talk. Do you know what I mean? So, I hope that the cops figure out a way to get this dude, this big dude. I mean, the big dude and whoever's driving that vehicle, that looks like a chick. So, I mean, to me it does, because she's tiny, or whoever it is tiny. They're so small that their head is, like, even with the door on the car. And it's only a Kia, it's not a big car, so, yeah, let me know what you guys think, and, Happy New Year, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!